There are villains who exist for chaos, and there are villains who embody it. In the violent post-apocalyptic universe of 2000 AD's Strontium Dog, a few names strike the same chord of menace as Kansyr, a towering alien killer whose very name is a play on corruption, decay, and inevitability. Today on Adventures with Peps, we are going to paint Kansyr. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's a play on the word cancer, so I feel I'm thereabout. We're not just capturing a face, we're painting the essence of this unstoppable evil. He is a creature born of cruelty, shaped by injustice, and destined to meet his end at the hands of Johnny Alpha, the galaxy's most relentless bounty hunter. To understand Kansyr, you have to understand the world he came from. The Strontium Dog universe we have covered very much on this channel, but it was first introduced in the pages of Star-Lord magazine before merging into 2000 AD. It's a world ravaged by nuclear war, a future where mutants scarred by radiation are shunned by society and shoved into space. The Strontium Dogs themselves are mutant bounty hunters, feared and hated, yet essential for hunting down the worst criminals across the known stars. Among them stands Johnny Alpha, white-eyed, sharp-minded, haunted, and destined to face some of the galaxy's most darkest figures. Kansyr was one of them. Kansyr was born on the planet Laz, a harsh, unforgiving world that only bred survivors. From the start, he was different, tall, hairless, red-skinned with milky white eyes and a hooked right hand that became his trademark weapon. Violence wasn't just a part of his life, it was his language. Over time, Kansyr became one of the most feared assassins in known space. He killed for profit, for reputation, and sometimes just for the thrill of it. When he murdered Sniffer Martinez, a partner of Johnny Alpha, he set in motion a vendetta that would span years and star systems. Alpha tracked him down, as always, and brought him to justice on Laz. But justice in that part of the galaxy meant very little. The authorities decided that killing a mutant didn't deserve much more than just a mere fine, and Kansyr walked free. From that day forward, Johnny swore vengeance. It took 7 years until Kansyr returned. By then, Johnny Alpha had a new partner, Wulf Sternhammer, the towering Viking mutant with a hammer and a sense of humour. Together, they had become legends within the galaxy, Strontium Dogs feared by outlaws, criminals, and everyone in between. Kansyr wasn't content with just escaping. He wanted revenge. He wanted Johnny Alpha dead, humiliated, broken, and erased. His weapon of choice wasn't brute force this time, though. It was something more insidious. The Halugin, a device capable of creating perfect illusions. It let him twist reality. It made Alpha and Wulf see things that weren't there. It turned allies into enemies and dragged both of them to the edge of madness. And for a time, it worked. Kansyr hunted the hunters, and he came very close to winning. Now, before we go any further, if you're enjoying this deep dive into a Strontium Dog lore, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good crap. Every click helps me keep this channel going. Also helps keep 2000 AD as a miniature game alive within the community. There's not many YouTube videos still going on this series of figures, so anything you can do to help me is going to help this hobby, and I will truly appreciate it. If you want to drop a comment and say hi, I will answer all comments. If you're feeling really generous, feel free to drop a little coffee love down in the buttons below. Right, back to the story of Kansyr. In their final confrontation, Kansyr's illusions had almost done their work. Johnny Alpha and Wulf were disorientated, bleeding and close to death. But Alpha, always the strategist, had one last gambit. He raised his gun to his own head. Kansyr laughed, believing victory was finally his. But Johnny Alpha wasn't surrendering, he was programming. The beam from his blaster passed harmlessly through his skull and struck Kansyr instead. In one moment, the illusion shattered, and so did Kansyr. He died on the asteroid Metastasis, deep in the Pol System, a fitting end for a killer whose name echoed the disease he represented. No cure for cancer. A title that was as much a warning as it was a prophecy. Kansyr's name wasn't chosen by accident. It's a real grim pun, obviously a play on the word cancer. And his final resting place is also a metaphor. It's a name that invokes metastasis, the spreading of disease. Even in death, Kansyr's story is a dark mirror of the universe that birthed him, harsh, unfeeling, poetic in its brutality. Kansyr may not be one of the longest running villains in 2000 AD, but his story captures everything that made Strontium Dog timeless. It had revenge, it had justice, and it had the blurred lines between the two. He was strong, deadly, and feared, but ultimately not as smart as Johnny Alpha. And in a world of bounty hunters and cosmic lawbreakers, intelligence often means survival. As we finish painting Kansyr, we're left with the image of a monster, not a mindless brute, but a twisted by a universe that values life selectively. He's both a product of his world and a reflection of it, violent, merciless, and doomed from the start. In every stroke of shadow and steel, there's a reminder some villains are unforgettable, not because of how they lived, but because of how they died. This is Kansyr. This is the killer from Laz, the scourge of the Strontium Dogs, and proof that in a galaxy without mercy, even evil has a story worth remembering. With that, I think we're pretty much wrapping up on this video. It was a real fun model to paint. He's absolutely huge in the grand scheme of things, which I find is really unique. I also got to pull out some paints that I don't normally get to use. So obviously I started off with the black prime, like I always do. And then I hit it with Rack of Flesh just to get a nice highlight. We then worked on using Hive Dweller Purple. This is a color I rarely use, but I was able to pick out some of his body armor in it, and it felt real fun to actually do that. And then I had to wait for that to dry, and that took a while. I wanted to make sure it was fully dried before I even dared attempt this next stage, which was using the yellow. Now this model has trim on his buckles, his belts. He's got like golden yellow waistband. He's quite a he's quite the character. When you think this model actually is about 2 times the size of Johnny Alpha in height, he has so much detail on him, and I really enjoyed trying to pick it all out. Now obviously I am using the speed paint, so this yellow was the Zealot yellow, and it's going to dry quite nice. It's going to not be a bright bold yellow because obviously the dry brushing isn't bright or bold either. And then after that we used the High Lord blue on his waistcoat, his knee pads. Just really adds a nice pop of colour. We then also had the blood red for his skin. That's his hands and his little headpiece. He is a weird looking creature and I love it. And then we finally finished things off with the Gravelord Grey, which we used on the hook and the gun. And if I didn't mention it, I feel like I didn't. We used Runic Grey for the fur. Nice and simple. Just makes him look that nice pale shade. He's kind of a cross between a Yeti and some weird red button. He's just a weird creature and I'm all here for it. But yeah, there you go. That's another Strontium Dog miniature in the bag, and I am happy to say that by the time you see this video, I should have the poll up and running for the next video choice. So make sure you head over to the community section and give it a like. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, say hello down below. I respond to every comment that gets dropped. I also would love to see you over on Discord with us, where we share our projects and have the odd chat now and again. And until the next video, as always, cheers for watching. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and then go watch this one. This one up here. Give it a click. Bye-bye.